You are now listening to the NYYST
Podcast.
Welcome back. This is episode 209 of the NYYST podcast. I am your host, Christian. As always, joined by my co-host, Chris.
Yo.
And Stat Guy Rye.
What up?
I got SGR in the studio.
We live.
First
What's
time we've
up?
done a show together in a while, man.
Yeah,
What's
man.
up, fellas?
When's the last time the three of us did a show together?
I have no earthly
punch in
idea.
the pod?
I actually don't miss it
No.
like for an everyday thing, but I miss it to a point where like I'd love to do it again soon, like once every 6 months.
Probably could do it soon and then maybe set up maybe multi-camera.
Are we 6 feet?
We're not. See, that's the thing. We're not 6 feet, but we are brothers. We're
But Chris
brothers.
quarantined for 14
That's
days.
the thing.
So
As
it's
long
okay.
as your
Chrissy
immediate
quarantine,
family,
yeah.
it doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing. Yeah, we're family.
So we are all back together. It's been a while because I think it was just me and Ryan. Then it was me and Chris. Then we took off a week for Christmas.
Yeah.
Shit.
And then it was me and Ryan again last week.
But it was
'cause-
really like it's really 2 weeks because we record on the weekends. You know? So we record because we release a show on Monday, but we recorded on a Saturday. We
Okay.
didn't record that next Saturday. And then that whole next week we don't record. So it's really like 2 weeks of not recording there. The week before that, it was just me and you.
Our last pod together was November 30th. That was the last air date.
Wow. So almost 2 months.
Yeah.
Sad. Falling apart.
We kept it going though.
It's
Yeah,
January 9th.
I actually had to turn you guys off last week, to be honest.
Why is that?
I just wanted to jump through the fucking radio when I was listening in the car. But that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
Why?
It's
I
not a
thought we
bad
did.
thing.
I thought we had an excellent
It's like,
show
you know,
last week.
no. You guys do an excellent show yourselves, but I wish I was there to disagree with you on a
which-
lot of things.
Yeah.
On what?
I wanted to fight Ryan, and I gave him a little bit of a break because I knew he was hammered.
7 out of 10.
Which you're a good 5.5 out of 10 right now. He's
Yeah, I
been
was going to
fucking
ask you.
fleecy. That's on
Ryan
the
showed me
house.
his whiskey glass before we started recording. So what's
That's his third one.
the number
Second
today,
one.
Ryan?
5.
5. Yeah, 5.
So you're halfway drunk.
He's a good
Halfway
5 out
there.
of 10.
Halfway
You're
there.
halfway there.
Living on a prayer.
Yeah. But when you were talking about, I just wanted to debate with you on this.
Let's do it now.
When you were talking about how the Yankees are going to wait for next year's free agent class if they don't sign their guy now. And the only thing I want to say to that is there's no more waiting, and you've been the number one guy to that. So that's never an excuse for me, especially when you're talking about a guy like DJ LeMay. When it was Patrick Corbin,
Mhm.
I was cool with it because, again, we've said this in the past, he was just the sexiest name. He was not worth that money at the time. Now he is because he won a World Series, but it's not like that for DJ. I think he deserves that contract. I think he should get that contract.
It's because I'm not. When I say those things, it's not me as a fan talking. It's me trying to put myself in the shoes of how the
so
Yankees
you're pretty
are
much saying
operating.
the Yankees suck at operating the team, which is
Yeah,
fair
kind of.
because
In a
they
way, I
kind-
mean, they
right
haven't
now,
won
they
a World
kinda do.
Series in 2009. They haven't been in a World Series since 2009, and they have a top 3 richest payroll in all of baseball.
Oh, but yeah, and I had to get into a conversation with somebody today about, the Yankees make more money than anybody, and they don't spend enough. Like,
yeah, I'm glad you brought that up for me because it makes me feel more confident when I'm debating with people. They do spend money. They're not cheap. They just don't spend it efficiently.
look, I don't care. Didn't we argue about this like a bunch in 2018?
Yeah.
About and this is when the revenue charts were prevalent and everybody was posting them like, oh, the Yankees spend X percent. And my whole point was like, okay, let's say like the Blue Jays make $300 million a year and they're spending 150 on payroll. That's 50%. So if the Yankees are making $1 billion, you want them to spend the same percentage on payroll as the Blue Jays. So the Yankees should have a $500 million payroll. How does that make it? I mean, I never understood that logic, nor do I understand the logic of people having an issue with the amount of money that the Yankees spend and saying that they're cheap. if the Yankees consistently, except for the year that they dipped under the luxury tax, the year that we all knew that they were going to do it, they consistently have the top payroll in Major League Baseball. How can you tell me that they're not spending money? Your argument, and we've said this a bunch of times now, your argument needs to be they're not spending the money properly.
Yes. And two quick things. One, please take a second, leave us a 5-star rating and review. If you've been especially if you've been a longtime fan of the show and you haven't left us a review on iTunes, please take 2 seconds to leave us a 5-star rating and review.
Also, if you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button.
Yeah, and the like,
throw
maybe
a like
throw a
down.
little likey, maybe
got-
throw a dislike.
I got a
if you
few
want.
comments because we haven't been together, so the video aspect has
Well,
been
YouTube's
tough.
been messed up, but
Yes.
we got it working again. They've had a lot of strict rules going down over at YouTube, so the upload speeds have been extremely slow for people, and it got a little crazy.
I had a few people though. Hey, where's the video?
Yeah,
Where's the video?
people are pissed.
Shout out to my boy Mickey, who's
Mickey is
who's
the
in-
biggest
Hey, yo,
troll.
Mick.
every week though he's listening to us. So
He is, because he'll
troll
reach
us
out
all
to
you
me
want,
too.
guy. But shout out Mick. If
And
you're
he wants
listening
us
to this,
to-
send me a text.
And he's in love with what's his name? Aceves. He still
Oh, I
thinks
know, it's so
Alfredo
weird.
Aceves is the best relief pitcher,
Yeah.
better than Mariano Rivera
He had
to
some
ever
good
pitch.
ones.
Anyway, we have something special for you guys that we're gonna get to later on in the show, but it made me think of something. We have a clip that we're gonna play later on from like the 2017 season, early 2018 season, or whatever. And in the show, we are literally fighting over the same things we are now. And it made me so friggin' frustrated that we are now going into 2021 and we're still having the same debates about this team. And that's just not okay to me anymore. And I don't know how to feel. I really don't. I am angry right now.
Well, before we actually take a deep dive into the show, I do want to bring something up here. We don't really get political on this show, and there's reasons for that. I mean, you can probably, as listeners of the show, maybe want to take guesses as to what way we lean one way or the other. I mean,
Not
I mean,
our peepees.
Chris did miss an entire show searching for aliens, so I mean, you can probably figure
Sure.
that out on your own.
Sure.
But sometimes we'll touch on real world things because we have to, and other times we ignore them because I think that it's best to use this show as an escape where you don't have to think about that.
Mm-hmm.
But after the events of this past week, I think that we should bring it up, and I'm gonna tip my hand a little bit. After the events of this past week, I was very disgusted by what happened, and I have to say this, that I do support Joe Judge as coach of the New York Giants.
Is that an internal joke?
So, yeah, it was. I was thinking of that one for a while there.
Yeah.
And I got Ryan on the horn now, and I just want to tell him that the team that you root for is scum.
Yeah.
Look,
Although, listen, look, the early part of this week was spent arguing with people about the Giants, and I get the team was 6-10. I'm not saying that they weren't good, that they were good. They weren't, but here's my point, and we take this time because I mean we're really going to spend a lot of this show talking about the friggin' Mets. Here's my point, right? If you're a fan and you're told that your team can make the postseason, whether they're 1-15 or 15-1, and all that needs to happen is that a rival, a team that you hate probably more than any other team except for maybe the Cowboys if you're a Giant fan, has to win the game and you're in the postseason, and that team pulls the plug on a winnable game midway through the third quarter, you're going to get upset. The argument that, the Giants should have won more than 6 games is stupid, because as a Giant fan, I know they should have won more than 6 games, asshole. My point is that once you're a fan and in the heat of the moment, the record doesn't matter. You're caught up in what's happening. So
Can I say something?
yes.
Do I hate the NFL?
yeah.
Yeah, you do.
Do I hate the New York Giants?
You do.
Do I hate New York Giants fans?
Mm.
Yes, including you.
Well, I hate your mother for giving birth to you.
Oh,
not,
no,
not,
no,
Ron-
it's my
giving
mom.
not-
no,
not
it's
Ryan's
your
mom.
mom.
Okay, fair.
not your mom, just Chris's mom.
having said that, I will say that I think every single Giant fan out there is 100% justified for being pissed. Not so much pissed that their team's not in the postseason, but pissed off at the fact that the integrity of the game was completely thrown out the window. And again, I hate the NFL as an organization, but you can't do that to a sport that you're getting paid to entertain people and whatnot, and that you have pride in. You can't. And I heard Eagles players were really pissed off about it.
They did not agree with the move to bench Jalen Hurts in that game. You know, it's unfortunate though. See, this is why I can't blame the Eagles for this, because the term tanking has become more and more used in sports over the last 3 or 4 years. It's happening all throughout sports. It's happening in basketball. It's happening in baseball. The Detroit Tigers seem to be tanking to improve in
Dude, the
their future.
Astros tanked for how many years?
It's
until
not
they
as
got-
it's
The
not
Astros
as,
tanked.
It's not as like
It's more up and coming in baseball than it is in
yeah, but
more
you
so in
can't
other
tell as
sports.
much in baseball because
It's
the
not as
season's
telling.
so long.
Right.
But
It
you know
is
why it
telling
was
in a
such an
16 game.
issue on Sunday? Because that was the last game. It was a
Magnified.
national spotlight
Yes.
as the Sunday night game. So if that game was played at 1 o'clock in the afternoon against 10 other games, it's probably not as big of a deal. It's just that everybody was watching this.
Yeah.
So, and I get it. As a Giant fan, you're pissed because your team got kind of screwed out of going to postseason. My whole argument to people that don't like the Giants and that were ragging on Giant fans is it's not, oh, win more than 6 games. I know that. They were bad this year. They played with a lot more heart. They weren't a fucking dumpster fire like they had been the previous years. So those were all encouraging things. But when you're a fan, it doesn't matter. If the Yankees won 8 games this year, but
Ooh.
somehow on the final Sunday of the regular season, they needed the Red Sox to lose to get into the postseason, and the Red Sox start their double A team in that final game, you're going to be pissed because
Absolutely.
at that moment, you're just in that moment as a fan of the team that has a chance to go to the postseason. And that was my argument. Don't give me this 6 wins bullshit, because it
And
doesn't matter at that point.
here's what I'll say too, because I just said Giants fans are justified. Here's one thing I didn't know when I was pissed off at the Eagles was that I didn't realize they were gaining from losing.
They gained 3 spots in the draft.
Okay,
They went
so
to
now
the 6th pick
so
with
my
that loss rather
anger
than the
or my
9th.
disgust, I guess you can say, went all to the NFL at that point, because the Eagles have
Exactly.
every right
Exactly.
to do what every other team has done throughout the entire year. You cannot argue that, regardless of where your team should be. You cannot argue that just because your team had a playoff spot and it was a national game, that they shouldn't have done what they done. If Giants fans are mad at Eagles, it's because it's an irrational anger. That's fine. But your true anger needs to be at the NFL.
Right.
The
And they
Eagles
need
can
to
do
figure
whatever
out-
they want. The Eagles can do whatever they want, but so as a Giant fan, you're allowed to get mad at them.
Absolutely.
For doing
I just said that. But I'm saying your true anger deep down should be completely directed at the NFL.
Right. Because if you say, let's say it's the Texans, right, and it's Deshaun Watson in the 3rd quarter, and you bench Deshaun Watson, it's not going to feel the same. You'll feel that sting, but it's because it's the Philadelphia Eagles that it makes it
But
that much
Doug
worse.
Peterson, dude, you needed to take a look at Nate Sudfeld. Jalen Hurts is your future quarterback. I mean, come on.
They should have
now.
just admitted what they were really.
Yeah.
But see, the
I think
only problem I had with that game, it wasn't the tanking. I couldn't care less. I'm also not a huge football fan, so there's that to begin with. What I had a problem with was the next day seeing the footage of them going after Alex Smith's legs.
Yeah, I don't
that was
think
messed
that's
up.
tonight.
That is something that needs.
I heard there's a good documentary on Alex Smith, by the way.
Going
through that whole
I'd like
injury.
to watch it. That was, he literally almost had
They
to
had-
have that leg amputated.
They have it
Well,
live.
he
The
almost
documentary.
died.
Yeah.
The documentary is
legitimately
him.
almost
At,
died.
the documentary is him going to that doctor appointment and them telling him in real
Oh, I gotta
time,
watch that.
we might have to amputate your leg. So I got to watch that.
They
Taylor
have to change his
Heinicke-
name
Taylor,
to a leg Smith.
a leg.
Change
leg
that
Smith?
X to a G. 'cause
Taylor
he-
Heineken is starting for
I know,
the Washington
Heine.
football team.
I need. All
tonight.
right, I've hit my quota on football talk.
Yeah, all right.
So
let's get back to-
we're recording here. It's about 9:15 on Saturday night. So
My team's in the playoffs right now.
you hate football. So what does it matter? Your team's
I
in the
do have
playoffs?
I do have a loyalty to the Redskins still. I really
They're
do.
dead. It's the Washington football team.
They will be the Redskins to me. Just like
Stop
if the
sleeping.
Yankees changed their name, I would always call them the Yankees.
First of all, we never talked about this, and I think it kind of will segue into it because it's the Cleveland baseball team. I guess they're not going to be
Cleveland
called Indians
Indians.
anymore. They're not going to be called the Indians anymore because
I think they're going this year as the Indians, right? And then after
I
this year,
think in 2021 that they 2022 they said they're going to get rid of the
believe
name.
so.
But anyway, they're not going to be known as the Indians anymore. It's offensive. But here's my whole take. If anybody ever brings up the fact that the word Yankee is actually originated in being an offensive term and they make the Yankees change their name, I'm not watching
They
baseball
never would.
anymore.
Yeah, they never would. You know, I'm
Because
glad.
you know
I
it's
don't
an
know about that if
you
they
know the
never
word
would.
Yankee, it's an offensive term. You know that, right? That's how it originated.
Nah, yeah, I guess. I don't
So
know.
What
is
do you mean, yeah,
Ranger,
you
I believe
guess?
Ranger is also another potential name change.
No.
Yankee was a derogatory term towards English to Americans, and then it became from
From north to
Southerners
south.
to Northerners.
Ah, I didn't know that. That's cool. I'm gonna even get more offensive here because I just thought of a really funny stand-up joke that you brought up. Louis C.K. This
Here
was
we go.
before he was canceled. This was back in the day. He had a joke. Do you remember this? Right? He was like, they came over to America and they were like, "Oh, look, a bunch of Indians." And they were, and the Native Americans were like, "No, we're Native Americans." He's like, "Nah, you're fucking Indians." And like that's how that. I guess that's why it's offensive. Are they not? Is it not Indians? I don't know, but I don't know why Indian would be something that Cleveland felt they had to change.
It's the same reason why they decided they were going to change Redskins. It's the reason
And
why.
do you think this is like a Red Sox firing Alex Cora type thing where tensions are high in America, so they're changing the name and then like in 2 years they just go back to it?
No, they won't go back to it. I don't know what they're
Cleveland
going to do.
Steamers.
The
You go with that name. You got the Cleveland
Steamies.
Browns in the NFL. You might as well keep that theme going. Cleveland
Well,
Steamers.
wasn't their original name like the Cleveland Spiders or something like that?
I
Ugh.
heard. I didn't know. I saw that name.
Terrible
Spiders.
name.
They should just go and why? What is it? Or
I
because
don't like
you know
spiders though.
the Cleveland Rockers.
How about
because
the
Cleveland
Cleveland
Rocks,
never good enoughs?
or the
Yeah,
Cleveland Cheaps?
Cleveland Tankers.
The Cleveland can't get the fucking job done.
Cleveland lower payroll than 28. Like 10 players in
Cle-
baseball make more than the
The
entire
Cleveland we
Cleveland
can't
Indians.
even afford to shop at Marshalls.
Yeah.
You got a great
So
manager.
I mean,
Yeah.
really, in the big news this week is that when was it Thursday? It literally came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
The Cleveland. I'm just going to call them the Indians for now. The Cleveland Indians traded Francisco Lindor and Carlos Carrasco to the New York Mets for Ahmed Rosario, one stick of beef jerky, salt and vinegar chips, and the Blue Mountain Dew that nobody likes.
I heard the one guy they gave up though,
Jimenez.
a lot of Met fans liked.
Jimenez or Jimenez?
I think it's Jimenez.
Andres Jimenez, right-hander Josh Wolf, and outfielder Isaiah Green, along with, of course, Ahmed Rosario.
But really, if you look at that haul, the Indians really for trading one of the 7 to 10 best players in the game and a guy who is at the top of his game can be a low end too. I mean, they really didn't get much in return.
Do you think that because this wasn't really all about Steve Cohen and his money?
Yeah, it was.
Why? How much does Lindor have left in his contract?
Two of them are that's $32 million of payroll they had to add this year.
Yeah, but that's not a lot for two guys like
For-
that.
Carrasco's
For
making
the Mets,
Yeah,
the
it's-
Mets and the
Yeah, but that's come on.
no. If all right, but if the Wilpons still on this team, is that trade happening?
No.
Okay,
no.
so it is about Steve Cohen's money.
All right.
Yes.
That's fair. But
the reason why, yeah, Christian, the reason the move, it seemed like they didn't have to give up too much was because of, Carlos Carrasco, in my mind, that's a solid contract. But when you're a team that's really trying to shed that payroll, he's making, I believe, around 12 million this year. Again, around the same next year, and then 14 million that final year of his contract. So this was a salary dump trade.
refresh my memory on the Clint Frazier deal. We gave up Miller
Yeah,
and who else?
that was it. It was Miller for Frazier, Ben Heller.
One other guy.
No, there was
Oh,
two other players.
Well, Justice
Sheffield,
Sheffield
right?
was in
Sheffield,
that package.
right, and then there was another
I
guy.
just
that
didn't know
never
if they
really-
had any resentment towards the Yankees, and they were like, "Fuck it, if we're gonna do a shitty deal, we're gonna do it with the Mets, and get the ball rolling for them."
No, I don't think this had anything to do with the Yankees. I think at that point in time, at this point right now, everybody, we'll get to this in a little bit because I guess the weekly poll that I posted was for Yankee fans to sound off about how they felt about this trade with the Mets and Indians. And, I anticipated a lot of people would take it from a Yankee perspective, which is kind of what I wanted. But if you look at all the dumps that the Indians have made, outside of Corey Kluber, who was hurt the year previous and didn't pitch except for one game in 2020, who have they traded? What star player have they traded to the American League?
Yeah, no one,
Exactly.
no one, and they're smart for that.
And I brought this point up on Twitter. The Indians are acting like the Rays act. They want to be poor, but they also want to compete. So they're not going to trade their star players when they need to make salary dumps in the American League. Look at where Blake Snell landed.
Well, they also have such a shitty division that they know they don't have to do much just to be competitive.
But you know what? Yeah, but still, it goes back to the point with the Rays. The Blake Snell got traded to the National League. You mean to tell me that no American League team had the type of offer?
And you know what? That's actually not fair to even say anymore because I mean the Twins have been good, and the White Sox are up and coming.
Yeah, the White Sox are up and coming,
Yeah.
but in the Indians' mind, they still want to be relevant in a overall what's been a weak division, so they're not going to trade, Francisco Lindor to the Yankees or anybody in the American League. And and then you hear the trickles of the information come out after the trade is done is that Brian Cashman wasn't really he didn't really seem that much of an interest in Lindor because his focus is still on getting DJ LeMahieu. So I don't know what the hell he's doing if that's his sole focus because it's January 9th right now.
Yeah.
And that Lindor was a backup plan. But my message to Yankee fans, and I tweeted this in several different ways because people are stupid and they don't know how to read, so you have to send the same tweet written five different ways, hoping one of them connects with people. Is that just because the Mets got this deal done for that price point doesn't mean that Brian Cashman could have offered Tyler Wade, fucking Davy Garcia and hardly any, and two fucking nobodies to get these two guys. It would have taken a lot more, in my opinion, for the Indians to have
Way more.
traded those two players inside the American League.
Way
They're
more.
not, and nobody's in a rush to help the Yankees. We've seen this
No.
how many times? Clint Frazier for Archie Bradley, and Brian Cat. Maybe that's a deal they should have made. I don't know. But again, this goes to my point where Brian Cashman doesn't want to be held up. He doesn't want to pay the quote Yankee tax. But there needs to
Or the
become a
luxury
point.
tax.
Well, that's Hal's baby, not Brian Cashman's. But there needs to become a point though where Brian Cashman says to himself, I need to overpay. I need to get somebody in here.
Yeah.
How many trade deadlines are going to have to go past now where we've, me, I don't know if you have, but me, I've given Brian Cashman the benefit of doubt in hearing some of the trade proposals. I'm like, this guy's not worth what they're being asked. But if you get a guy that's a third starter on here, even if they're asking ace level prices for him, a third starter can make all the difference for the Yankees when they have Garrett Cole and fucking Tanaka, and then they got to go and play hokey pokey with Davy Garcia and that asshole in game 2.
I think Cashman needs to change his perspective from how valuable is the player they're giving up to how valuable is this player for what we're needing right now. Instead of looking at a guy like, oh, I'm giving you this ace-like stuff for a third starter, maybe we need a third starter. Maybe a third starter is as valuable as the price they're putting on him for us right now, and you just fucking do it if you need to do it. But for me, I got to say, with each day that passes, I have been getting more disgusted that the Yankees haven't signed DJ, but also at the same time, more optimistic that they will. Because I feel like he would have been signed already somewhere else.
Well, here's
Okay.
let's look at this trade in a few different ways here. Lindor going to the Mets, to me, takes one possible suitor for DJ LeMahieu out of the equation.
Yeah.
Because now you here's the funny thing, right? Yankee fans are so twisted sometimes that they're so worried about Hal saying he doesn't want to go over the luxury tax. Well, Sandy Alderson came out and said that it's not a directive from Steve Cohen, but it's something he doesn't really want to do, and that's go over a luxury tax. So the Mets are playing with that 210 in mind. So if they already brought in a middle infielder that's going to make around $20 million this year, and they need starting pitching, or well, they took care of that with Carrasco, but they need bullpen help, and they need a center fielder, and they want to pay George Springer. How does bringing in DJ LeMahieu for $25 million make any sense?
Right.
And now you hear who is the other two teams you keep hearing linked to DJ besides the Yankees, the Blue
Dodgers.
Jays and the Dodgers. Well, from what I understand is that DJ LeMahieu doesn't like the uncertainty of the Blue Jays because of COVID and them not being able to have a quote home base anymore. Where did they play last year? In Buffalo, at a minor league park. So that
Yeah,
kind of
loved
takes
it.
them out of it, unless they're going to go berserk and offer the guy like $35 million a year. And then the Dodgers, who are apparently only around DJ to kind of light a fire under Justin Turner's ass, and they only really would go to DJ as a backup plan if Justin Turner went anywhere. But as Ryan and I talked about last week, this guy's 36 years old. Where's he going?
I was shocked
Me
when
too,
you guys
yeah.
said that. Yeah, and you know what, too? You got to look at it from the other perspective. We know Brian Cashman, it's a lot about his ego. And he doesn't, trust me, he does not like the fact that Yankee fans are walking around going, oh, at least the Mets care and want to win a World Series, and the Mets are doing things. And I think that could light a fire under Brian Cashman's ass to get this done.
But is this slow play that we've all been screaming for how long? Give him what he wants. Give him what he wants. Give him 4 for 100. Give him the 5th year. Give him this. Give him that. Is this slow play that Brian Cashman is taking with DJ LeMahieu? Is that going to end up working to his advantage? Because everybody else that would be in the DJ LeMahieu market is going to fall off now, and it's just going to be the Yankees.
Well, that's why I was just saying at the same time I'm getting more optimistic that they sign him, because I feel like he would have been signed by now by one of these teams that have the money to pay him what he wants. And the fact that they haven't, and other moves are still being made by these teams that really take them out, like you're saying of the DJ race, DJ's market value dropped big time after the Lindor trade, in my opinion.
So
that was a team that was a big team that could have signed him easily for what he wanted, and they could have used them.
So the report after the trade concerning LeMahieu here is that LeMahieu still wants to be a Yankee. It's expected he will still be a Yankee unless, quote, he feels disrespected by the Yankees offer. Now, what did we hear the offer was from the Yankees side? 4 for 84. I don't find that to be disrespectful. Do you find that to be disrespectful? Now, Grant, let's take
at the
out
time,
of the equation what he wants.
If it were now, yes. No, I would not find it disrespectful. But at the time, yes, I do. I think that is.
So he should leave then. He should feel disrespected and leave.
Well, no, because
that he's getting a $9 million a year raise.
Well, no, because now it kind of bit him in the ass. But I think
Brian Cashman comes back and says we're going to give you 3 for 48. Yeah, that might be disrespectful now.
Where are the Yankees spending that money if they're not spending it on DJ? Tell me where they're spending it. Tell me where they're spending that money. Because that's what pisses me off. That's like being the best employee at your job, and your contract's up and your company's going to rehire you, and you've been the most productive at your company, and your boss comes back with less years and $16 million less than what you wanted, and then they just sit and they don't do anything.
But are you getting you're still being offered a raise and a substantial
But I
one.
valued myself at a higher rate than that, and I think I deserve that because I've been the best employee there.
And then this is what the Yankees are saying, basically. Go find another company that will pay you what you think you're worth.
Right, and that's why I'm saying I think it bit DJ in the ass. And I think that's really shitty for him, not for us, but it's shitty for him because I think he deserved the money that he was asking. Not 125. If that was true, right? Isn't that the final thing that came out that he was really asking for 125?
That was one of the rumors, 5 for 125. Yeah.
Because I haven't been on the show since then, But if that's the case, then 100% I wouldn't be mad at the Yankees for letting him walk. But I told you my limit was the 5 for 100. I think that's a friggin' steal. I think it's a steal. It's less money than you're paying him a year if he took the 484. No,
Yeah, that AAV
it's
is
a million.
20.
Yeah, it's
$1 million
so who
difference.
cares about the 5th year? Again, if you think in 5 years you need to be worrying about paying him for another season, that means that you don't know if you're going to win a World Series over the next 5 years. Because we all know the second they win a World Series, that contract is worth every penny.
I think that I kind of touched on this the last podcast, that if you have to keep in mind this luxury tax, it until they prove otherwise.
For them,
yes,
keep it in mind for them, not for me.
No, not for you, but as a team.
Well, what do
until
we
they,
always talk about, though? You have to, if we're going to sit here and debate something, we have to look at it not only from a fan perspective, but what is actual reality.
So for me, how I picture actual reality, if they are thinking about this luxury tax, right now, let's say they get LeMahieu and they give him 25 over 5 years, or even 20 over 5 years. Over these next 5 years, you are going to have at least 2 players whose contract will be up, that you will have to pay that much, if not more than it will be more than what DJ makes now, because the market value, it usually increases every year to begin with. But you're going to have to pay Gleyber Torres, and you're going to have to pay Aaron Judge, and if depending on how Sanchez is, you'll have to pay Gary Sanchez as well. So that's 3 more guys that you're going to have to pay 20 plus million
Hold
to.
on, Christian.
And if that's the case, then you aren't going to be able to afford yourself to stay under that luxury tax.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Let's be fair and just take Sanchez out of the mix, so that listeners aren't going, no, fuck.
No,
Gary
I
Sanchez,
really
fucking
don't
him.
even. I'm talking.
Gary Sanchez sucks.
I'm talking more about Gleyber Torres and Aaron Judge.
Okay, so ready? When is Gleyber Torres' contract?
2023, he will be a free agent,
and that's in how many years?
2 more years.
Okay, and Aaron Judge,
same, maybe next.
After next
Judge
year,
is the year previous.
Yeah.
So whether they
I
sign
think
him
Gleyber's
for
24.
So what you're telling me is the only way it makes sense for them, in your perspective here, which I'm not arguing with your perspective, I understand where you're coming from. What you're saying is the only deal that makes sense for them is to only sign DJ for 1 year, then, because even if they signed him for a 3-year deal at $20 million a year, it's still overlapping.
3 years is much different, the way I'm saying this, than 5 years, because if it's 3 years, then you'll only have to worry about 1 extra contract rather than 2 extra contracts over the 5-year span.
But you're still paying those players anyway.
But you aren't paying them.
What if you
annually.
win a World Series after those in 3 years?
It doesn't matter if I'm trying to get under the luxury tax, how many games I win, how many titles I get. The fact is that I'm trying to stay under this luxury tax, and I'm not going to be able to if I pay DJ LeMahieu that much over 5 years.
Understand
because then I have
argument.
to pay Aaron Judge, and I have to pay
Ryan,
Gleyber
can I
Torres.
just poke a hole in your
please,
because I'm looking at the numbers now, right? So and this could be why the Yankees want to sign DJ LeMahieu to a 4-year deal. Gleyber Torres is a free agent after the 2024 season, which is 4 seasons from now.
Okay, so then
Aaron
that
Judge
makes sense.
Aaron Judge is a free agent 3 seasons from now. So
that
Ryan,
makes sense,
and
then.
I completely understand Ryan's point, but that could be why the Yankees are trying to.
But
stick
did you
to
understand?
So that strengthens my
yes,
point. No?
now it does. But then I agree with you.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is you agree with my counter argument then, Christian, because now it makes sense. So now your argument makes more sense to me because Torres is in 4 years now.
Okay.
So now I get it, but
it would still be a 3-player overlap with LeMahieu, Judge,
understood
and
at 5 years.
Yes.
So
At
that was
5
my
years,
point.
yes.
Right. At 5.
That was my point. So why would the Yankees offer him 4 when you thought Torres and Judge would have been signed in that time anyway? Now I get it. And what I'm going to say is, why do we care so much about this luxury tax when we haven't won a World Series in 11 fucking years? Not just that, haven't even won a pennant.
Mm-hmm.
Haven't even won a pennant. I would have taken a pennant.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a pennant's great. It's a prestigious thing in
I
baseball.
agree with you, man.
That's
agree with
why,
you.
and here's what this is bringing me back to the Giants, right? That's why everybody says, "Why do you want to win a division at 6-10?" Because they didn't win a fucking playoff game since 2011. That's
Right.
why.
Right. And you know what?
So-
What three guys have said more than us back in 2018, even 2019? Look, we get it. You got to stay under the luxury tax. They're trying to build this team up to be ready in 2019, 2020, whatever. In 2017, 2018, we were behind the Yankees organization saying, we get it. We see the future. We see the plan. They're not going to be ready till they're telling us 2019. So we need to be smart now. Guess what? We don't have to be fucking smart anymore. What we're being is cheap, regardless of how high our payroll is, because I get it. We spent that money. They are being cheap because they didn't come through with what they promised us. Their plan failed. They did not execute it properly. Therefore, we should not have to pay for that. We are loyal fans to this team. We live, breathe, and die for this team. And you're going to sit here after 11 fucking years and tell me that you're worried about staying under a luxury tax when you haven't won fucking jack shit? Give me a break. Give me a break.
Okay. Are you done?
Okay. Tommy, by the way, rest in peace, Tommy Lasorda.
Yeah.
Legend.
Yeah.
A legend.
R.I.P.
Okay, Tommy Lasorda wasn't as good as everyone thought he was, but rest in peace.
Okay. He managed for 20 years. He only
Did we get a
won 2 World
Francesa tweet
Series.
out of that death?
I don't know. I didn't see it.
If he did, I'll check right now and read
We
it.
used to need Stat Guy Rye for stats. Now we just need him for
Francesa.
Francesa tweets.
Is he still tweeting?
I agree with 99% of what you just said.
Wow.
Can I guess the 1% that you didn't agree with?
Yeah.
Can't think of it because I was fucking 100% correct.
I don't agree with calling them cheap when they're still going to have a $210 million payroll.
Okay.
When they gut
Can I
this
ask you a
team,
question?
no, listen to me.
Okay.
When they gut this team and tell me that you're going to have a $110 million payroll, then you can throw around the word cheap.
Okay. I will agree with you under one circumstance.
Yeah, what's that?
Hal Steinbrenner and
Mhm.
Brian Cashman
Okay.
hold a press conference and they sit there and look us in through the camera and say, just speak directly to Yankee fans. Fuck reporters. And they say, we have failed. We are failures. We have failed our loyal fan base who has always stood behind us. We did not execute our plan. We tried to spend the money. We tried, but we failed. And now we're worrying just about us. Thank you. Have a good day. Sorry to break it to you, but we're more worried about us, even though we were a bunch of failures for 11 years, than we are about our fans. Have a good day. Okay? And then I agree with you. But from my perspective, they're being cheap because they clearly don't care about the value that their fan base brings to them. They clearly don't.
Then they
don't.
wouldn't have signed Garrett Cole last year if they didn't care.
Disagree.
No, I don't disagree, because if they really didn't care about the fans, why would they go out there and give this guy the largest contract
ask you a
ever for a
question.
starting pitcher?
When they signed him, did they think they were going to win a World Series the next year?
I would hope
Were
so.
they
favorites?
No.
I
I mean, not like bullshit. Like, honey, you can do whatever you want. You can be whatever you want to be, even though your daughter can't even kick a soccer ball 2 feet.
Yeah.
But you're telling her she could
No.
be a soccer star. This
They're
wasn't like
legit,
of course we think we could win the World Series. No, when they fucking signed that contract, they were ready for that next year because they missed out on 2019, right? That was their year, so they were pissed. They went out and got their fucking white whale. In 2020, they felt 100% that contract was going to pay itself back in 1 year, and it failed again. And when you continue to fail, you cannot just sit on your fucking hands and tell me that you can't spend money because you failed. If that's the case, then don't own a baseball team.
Again, this guy's committing more money than any other owner to his payroll. What is the limit? How far do we go down this line?
What? We were offered Randy Levine. I think we should have him on the show, and I'll grill him. I will. I want him to tell me if fans are justified for feeling this way and why we should or shouldn't be. And I would love to hear that from the president of the New York Yankees. I really would.
As I said, I'm not in the mood to listen to them tell me about the luxury tax, but I'm also not going to sit there and accept the fact that fans want to call this team cheap because I don't believe it.
Well,
There's
you
a
should.
difference between the two things.
There is a difference because they're paying one guy $36 million per year and they're paying another guy $25 million
So
per year.
I keep
paying their
coming back
closer
to this. It's
$16
not
million per
what
year.
they're spending, it's how they're
Yeah.
spending it.
I agree, Christian.
Yes. They
Chris,
as
if
an
you can't win-
organization, as an
if you can't
organization, as an
win with a
organization,
two-
as an
uh,
organization,
What
they
do
are
you want,
not cheap.
Pete?
They are not cheap. Right?
They're not
we
cheap.
know that. As an organization, they are not cheap.
They're not
Right
not
now,
cheap.
they are acting cheap. They are being cheap. Because now they're caring more about their own well-being than they are about themselves failing. They're not holding themselves. Here's a better way to put it.
When
They're not holding themselves accountable for their own failures.
when
They're
they
telling
dump
us to accept.
when they do what the Indians and Red Sox did, trading their best player a year before free agency because they can't afford to sign him, then I'll tell you that they're cheap. So until they start doing shit like that, then I'm not going to call this team cheap.
And let me add to that point, Christian. It's still up. If I'm the Yankees, I'm trying to think logically here. Okay.
But you're drunk.
I'm a little buzzed.
Are you past 5 now?
Yeah, 5-3. I only took
Ooh.
a few sips,
Sippies.
but you have to think of for two things. One, what's the competition like, and how many, and what is my road to the postseason? And it looks like those two questions have gone now in favor of the New York Yankees, because who did they face in the ALDS last year? The Cleveland Indians, and
Well,
the
the
Cleveland
Rays.
Indians. Excuse me,
In the wild card series.
in the the first round, they played the Cleveland Indians. Now the Indians are gone. Yes, of course, there is the possibility that the Blue Jays step up, but it's 162 games. It's a full season, and the White Sox maybe step up. But you're looking at one of the teams in your way was the Indians. The other teams in your way were the Tampa Bay Rays. They just lost their ace. Blake Snell's gone. The other team in your way was the Houston Astros. They don't have Justin Verlander this year. So if you're putting yourself,
they don't have George Springer either.
they don't have, and again, yeah, that I forgot. I meant to say that as well. And they don't have George Springer either, the guy who he was a Yankee killer in the postseason. So when you're thinking that way, in the front office of the New York Yankees, it has to be the perspective of, well, the Indians are gone, so we just hopped over them. Springer's gone from the Astros along with Verlander. We just hopped over them. It's the Toronto Blue Jays we have to worry about, and the Chicago White Sox and the Minnesota Twins, maybe the Oakland A's, and maybe even Tampa Bay. They'll find a way. I agree, but I'm throwing it out there. So when I look at the competition, I'm not going over the top in my free agent acquisitions, because I don't necessarily need to make these moves, because let me just finish this one thing. I have an extra playoff spot. So and look, this all comes down to how this whole thing plays out. Will there be an extra playoff spot? Is the playoff format
that
the same?
should be answered before the
should be.
offseason, by the way. It should have been
answered by now.
They still don't even know if National League's gonna have a DH this year.
That's fucking
But if you're
crazy.
telling me right now, and maybe they know more than we know, if you're telling me right now that this year, this upcoming season, and potentially for in the next CBA, that you will have a different first round format and an extra playoff team, then the New York Yankees should not add anybody, because that first round's a crapshoot, and all that matters at that point then is to get into the playoffs. And the Yankees 100% have a team that, if they don't make the playoffs, then they literally have to change everything top to bottom. They will make the playoffs because it's going to be 162 games. Astros made it under 560 games. There's going to maybe be another team under 500 again if they add that playoff spot. The Yankees do not need to make a move.
Okay. And
to make the playoffs, which is, if I'm an owner, that's all I care about. Make the playoffs and then let the players take over from there.
Okay. Here's where I'm just going to refute the idea that they should be or are looking at the competition around them right now. Here's why. Just answer yes or no. Christian, you can too. Do we have way too many question marks than than you're comfortable with in the rotation?
Yes.
Yes.
Do we have too many question marks in the infield right now?
If LeMahieu's unsigned,
Yes.
I'm talking about right now
Yes.
in this
yes.
moment.
Oh, sure.
I wouldn't
yes.
say too many. I mean, we have a question mark.
Well,
in the
considering
infield.
we had one of the worst defenses in the league last year, and now we lost right now we don't have DJ LeMahieu. You wouldn't say we don't have too many question marks, and Gio Urshela might not be back for the start of the
Oh
season.
yeah, that's right. We got that butcher over at first base too. So
Yeah. So yes
Okay.
or no?
Yes.
okay,
Yes.
okay.
Okay. Do we have a question mark with the guy who was supposed to be the future behind the plate for the New York Yankees?
Higashioka, no.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do we have
Yes.
question marks in the bullpen, considering that we don't know? We know we lost Canely. Regardless, you're losing Canely. We saw how big of a piece he was. And do we not have question marks in the bullpen when that used to be our strongest suitor?
Yes. But now can I?
So when you have that many question marks, 2 years now, we're going into 2 years post when we were told we would win a World Series. You're telling me you're looking at competition around you?
Mm-hmm.
You don't even have competition with yourself right now.
Did they make the playoffs without Tommy Kahnle?
No. I get your point. 100%. But first of all, yes, we got our ace, but now, like we just said, there's too many question marks. There's too many what ifs. And the what ifs could turn out to be beautiful for us. What if Sevy comes back healthy and lights out? Fuck yeah,
What
dude.
if Herman?
What if Davey Garcia is a
contributes?
stud next year? Dude,
Yeah.
this team could be filthy. What
Yeah.
if they sign DJ? Hell yeah. What if Judge doesn't get hurt? What if Stanton
Clark Schmidt
performed?
comes through?
Great. If it were more of, look, do we need to hope they come back healthy, whatever? If it were maybe just that instead of, are they going to sign DJ? Do they have money to get another pitcher? Can they do this? Can they do that? And they're not even signing the best player that they've had for the last 2 years. I'm sorry. I feel like they're being completely complacent right now when they absolutely cannot be.
I will agree with. I will bite my tongue, eat my words, if they don't make a move at the deadline to improve this team. But in terms of, they have a roster right now currently constructed to get them to that deadline at a competitive rate. And that's, if I'm running a team, that's literally all I care about. And then at the deadline, that's when if I see something, that's when I'm like, oh,
say something.
My middle infield is weak right now. Let's go and get a free agent. I mean, let's go and trade for someone.
You're right. And you said Max Scherzer, which made my eyes open up. Okay, but here's a point I'm going to make, because we talked about it in the beginning of the show. Cashman calls up the Nationals. Nationals are out of it, whatever. They heard Scherzer's going to be up on the block. What kind of taxes are the Nationals going to put on Max Scherzer at that point? They need to stay competitive. They just won a World Series. They want to stay competitive for their fan base. They're starting to build baseball back in DC, and it's been great for them. Do you think tell me where that deal's starting?
Probably
It starts with the Washington Nationals record in July. Because if it is totally, I'm not talking about their record when they won the World Series. I think they were at 19-31 to start the year, but then by the All-Star break they were somewhat.
They were a 500 team.
Yeah.
Before the All-Star break.
Yeah.
They were not even in the playoff.
I think they got over 500 by the break.
Because it was 8. We thought Scherzer and them were going to be traded at the deadline that year.
So that's if the Nationals, which I mean, they're adding pieces as if they are going to be competitive, but if they are not competitive,
they signed Kyle Schwarber today.
Just to help you in this point real quick, I'm saying, who cares what their record is? We know at this point that they are giving up Scherzer to someone.
Right, but that leverage is all predicated on their record, because if they're 20-60 at that point, then they don't have a reason to keep Scherzer. If they're 5 games within 500 above or under, they can always use that argument. Well, we're in the race for a playoff spot, and we know once if we get in, we can go on a run. So that's where the leverage lies. It's in whether or not the Washington Nationals are competitive, whether or not whatever team the New York Yankees are trying to trade with at the deadline. It's going to be much different this year than this past deadline, because everyone was pretty much in it at the deadline because it was only X amount of games.
If I'm giving up Max Scherzer, I'm out of it. And if I'm giving up Max Scherzer and I'm still think I might be in it, I'm not.
See, that's the thing. I'm saying from the only way the Yankees get Max Scherzer without having to give up Jason Dominguez is if they aren't in it.
But I'm saying, what about the Yankee tax that we just talked about? Everyone wants to spike Cashman in the Yankees.
Won't matter.
It's not just going to be Dominguez. It's going to be more than that. It's going to be a guy that they can pop right into their lineup. It's going to be a Clint Frazier on top of Dominguez.
No, I don't think so.
I do.
No,
I do because I don't think
it's a rental from a team that is. I'm talking about. You have to assume. I'm saying that the Nationals are going to be a terrible team this year. At that point, that's the only way the Yankees will get Max Scherzer. And
I don't think you really fully understand what people. We don't care because we want to win and we don't give a shit about prospects right now. But I don't think you fully grasp what people think of Dominguez around Major League Baseball. That if Brian Cashman offered him in a fucking trade for a rental for Max Scherzer, that their GM down there in Washington would do naked cartwheels down past the White House. That's how excited he would be.
Would he get arrested
for 2 months of Scherzer? Yes. So that's what it comes down to. It comes down to the teams at the deadline that the Yankees are going to make moves with. They have to be out of it by then. That wasn't the possibility this year because of COVID.
Cashman's job to negotiate off of Dominguez. But if I heard that Jason Dominguez got in the way of the Yankees getting Max Scherzer and the Yankees lost in the ALCS because they didn't have enough starting pitching past Garrett Cole, that's not acceptable at that point. Because what is Jason Dominguez to me but a myth? He's like Thor is all he is. He's a fucking fairy tale.
And again, what are you doing? It's the same thing that the Indians are doing with their guys that they don't necessarily want to get rid of. You're moving him to the National League. You're getting him out of your league, and you don't have to worry about him anymore. So that's definitely a team that the Yankees are going to make a move with, man. If it comes down to the Washington Nationals struggling and they are not competitive at all at that deadline, then the Yankees will trade for Max Scherzer this year.
You would hope so, anyway.
They'll try to. I'll tell you this: Max Scherzer won't be pitching for the Nationals in September if the Nationals aren't competing in July.
I wouldn't think so.
Absolutely not. It'd be stupid.
Well, there you go. So then, what other team should he go on?
My point to you was really that it didn't matter the leverage of their season. They're giving up Max Scherzer because they're out of it. So we knew that already. What I'm saying is, why wouldn't the Nationals be like every other team and say, fuck you, I want more than Dominguez? Because I think Cashman has offered, I think Cashman has, let's be fair here. It's not just that Cashman wasn't willing to give up a little too much. It was that the guys that were being offered up were not truly just not worth what they were asking for. It was more of a fuck you, you're the Yankees, so give me way more than I should. This deal makes way too much sense for the Yankees. This deal would make what would make the Nationals say, yeah, this is a great deal for both of us, Brian. We'll help you and you help us. Thank you so much. What makes them different at that point? Honestly,
because Chris, it's a move where the Washington Nationals.
You're telling me there's not another pitcher in the minor leagues and another team that's could be just as good as Dominguez that they'd rather deal with than the New York Yankees?
Isn't a pitcher, right? You understand that?
Because you have
what is he, an outfielder?
Yeah,
center fielder.
Yeah, center fielder. Well, whatever.
Because Chris, look,
think of yourself as
no, I'm saying in my head, I'm thinking of Scherzer, you dick.
If you're the Nationals and you're again, this all predicates on being to not be competitive at this point. You have to say to yourself, well, we got to get something for Scherzer. He's definitely not. We're not getting him back.
Right. I understand that. I'm saying how many other teams could have said the same thing and said, well, the Yankees are giving us a pretty good deal here. We should take it. But they said, nah, fuck you. We'll find another team.
And how many of those teams were American League teams?
That has just as good of a guy, and we'll just deal with them instead. We'll ask you for 10 times more than we're going to ask for them. But then we'll go and we'll get. What was the team that took way less than Cashman actually offered? Wasn't it Stroman? Wasn't that the it was the Stroman when Stroman
Maybe.
went to the Mets, it was for Robbie Ray, maybe?
No.
It was one of
I'm
those
not sure.
guys.
I don't know, but the famous one is Garrett Cole. They asked for way more from the Yankees than they ended up
Right.
getting from.
Okay, maybe that's what I'm thinking of then. My point is, what in your mind right now? Yes, it's perfect. It's a perfect. Nationals are out of it by the deadline. Cashman calls over, and yes, we wanted him. Thank you so much for calling us about Dominguez. Yes, we will do it. Do you want us to fly Scherzer to you, and we'll come pick up Dominguez from you? We'll make this as easy as possible. Thank you, Brian. What makes them so different this year? What? Because it makes sense to us? Yeah, a lot of the deals made sense to us. You're telling me there's not other guys like Dominguez out there that the Nationals could get and
Yeah, there are.
feel better about themselves?
But are they on the? Are they in the American League? Are they? What
doesn't-
they're
I don't think
looking
the league
for?
thing matters with a rental though.
Yeah,
Well,
right.
when you're getting them, yeah, all right. That's
So
fair.
that's I mean that's my point. I'm going to stand behind it because again, what makes them different than any other team that's been
Because
All right,
go play
Dominguez
with
is on
your
another level,
fucking-
though, Chris.
Go
He's a
play with your
top
fucking
five.
trade simulator and let's move on here.
Dominguez is a piece that if you offer him, you could virtually get practically any player in baseball for him.
Sure.
There's a
I
handful
agree
of
with
guys
you, dude.
can't
I'm
get
on your
for
side.
him.
Trust me.
But I'm saying that
Would the Yankees maybe have to chip in other low-level minor leaguers? Maybe, but they're not going to give up a starting outfielder along with Jason
it would be
Dominguez.
Dominguez and scraps, if anything more.
All I'm saying is, guys, this will be the last thing I say.
Oh, Chris is
I
done
don't-
talking, so now we have to move
No,
on.
because I know you want to move on. You just said you want to move on. You want to play with your simulator. That's what you call it.
No,
now,
you
and
need to
wanna
play
move
with
on.
your fucking trade simulator.
What makes them any different than any other team?
We're not
That
different. We're all the same.
right. I mean, you just said they'll probably just ask because it's a rental and it's Scherzer. Dominguez and a lower price should get it done. Yes, I agree with you 100%. But why would it just be that easy when every other fucking deal for how many years now?
He's different though, bro.
This is different. This is not.
It's different. This kid's a potential phenom.
It's not. Nobody in the Yankees organization has been thought of as they think of.
What would you
Jason
do
Dominguez.
What would you do if it was put on the table and Cashman said we just couldn't fathom giving up Dominguez for a rental
Well, then he should be fired.
immediately?
Well, you know,
He's ranked
outside
he's number one in the Yankees organization.
outside of you know, making a trade for
Carrasco and Lindor.
Carrasco and Lindor, the Mets are really rubbing it in the Yankees this week. First of all, we found out yesterday that they signed Chris's favorite player, Tarpey Tutus.
Tarpey Tutus.
Stephen Tarpley's now a Met, which, you know,
Solid pickup, man. I'm jealous.
but here's the one that really irks me. They went out and they actually did it.
They did it.
They went out and they signed the Lord and Savior, Brandon Drury.
The
The New
greatest.
York Mets actually went out there and stole our Lord and Savior, Brandon Drury.
Steve Cohen prayed
Steve
to the Lord.
Cohen, you
He
son
said,
of a
please
bitch.
bring me down. Send down a guardian angel. And guess what? He didn't get a guardian angel. He got the Lord himself. And now he's a New York Met.
So now
So we immediately First of all,
could
let me
not-
just say what a dickhead you are. Christian's been doing this thing now where every time a guy is signed that was a former Yankee, he'll text and be like, "Can you fucking?" This is the text. It was 3 separate texts. O sent, M sent, G. The Mets really fucking did it. They signed him. And I'm in the middle of doing something serious at the time. I fucking dropped my phone, walked outside, took a deep breath, came back, and I was like, I don't even want to Google this right now. And I typed in DJ LeMahieu Mets, and the only thing that came up was like the Dodgers could sign him, and I'm like, he's fucking with me. And then I look at the next text from him. He goes, Brandon Drury is a New York Met.
Who did I do that with like the day later?
You got him back on someone else, I forget. But anyway, so it immediately sparked an idea to go back because it's one of our favorite. Honestly, I think all three of us can agree with this. One of our favorite moments of any episode. And I I got to give myself credit here. I cut this where it sounds like it's just one straight rant from Christian, but it's really not. This was a 20-minute rant from Christian where we thought he was going to have a heart attack at the time. And I really kept us out of it as much as possible because Christian just kind of really.
You
Did
edited
you leave in
it.
the part where you said Greg Bird was the future?
Hold on, hold on. No.
No.
I gotta defend myself here. What I said was Greg Bird, and I used the words right now is the future first baseman of this team. I said
when
right
you look
now.
when you look at things back in perspective, it's just
He
ridiculous.
at that time he was the
No,
future, so I was right.
Uh-huh.
But God, I cringed when I heard it come out of my
So
mouth.
this is a treat for longtime fans of the show. When I tweeted something about the Lord and Savior yesterday, it got like 8 likes, which I know that you 8 people are like the hardcore OG fans of the show because this was like what, episode 58
Episode
or something
57 or 58, yeah.
Yeah, right. And for you newer listeners, just a taste of what it was like back in 2018 when we had to
we
deal with it.
apologize about the audio. Audio is not as good, obviously, and but it's like a minute. I cut it down to like a minute and a half, but I couldn't leave out any of this content, so it's a minute and a half. Enjoy it. This was back in what year, Christian? This is 2018, right?
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna play it.
I'm going to take a deep breath here. I don't even want to hear anybody utter the name. And I don't want to curse because I want my point to be
I
made
agree
here.
with you. I
don't even want to hear the name Brandon Drury said in my presence anymore. I don't want to go on Twitter. I don't want to see @Christian_NYYST or at NYY Sports Talk. I don't want to see you tweet those 2 words to me anymore. I cannot. And it has nothing to do with the guy. I'm sure he's a great guy. I'm sure he donates his time to sick kids. He might even go to church on the weekend, or if he's a Jewish fellow, maybe he goes to synagogue on Saturday. I don't know. He might be a humanitarian, the greatest guy since Gandhi. But I hate Brandon Drury. I cannot stand the sound of his name anymore. And I'll tell you why. Every single time something goes wrong in the Yankee universe this year, play Brandon Drury. Brandon Drury's got to play. And it's just a turnaround. The turnaround on these people of this section. Can we give him the Dru Crew or whatever? We'll come up with a cute nickname for it later.
Dru Crew.
The Dru Crew. The Dru Crew, okay? And when Drury made this team out of opening day and Andujar was in AAA, my God in heaven, you would have thought that they killed Jesus again because Andujar was in AAA for Brandon Drury. Now Brandon Drury is Jesus.
That's assuming you're not Jewish. Yes, I get your
Do you
point.
understand what I'm saying now?
Oh, it was too good. It was too good.
That's only like the tip of the iceberg of what
It
that
really,
rant was.
honestly,
Classic.
if you have some time, go back to, I think it was episode 50.
I'll pull it up. I'll find it.
Yeah, I think it was episode. If you have some time, just go back. When does the rant start? Around like
14 minutes.
14 minutes. You don't have to listen to anything else. Just go back and listen to the full thing. Like I said, it didn't sound like it flowed right through.
Yeah.
That was cut within 24 minutes of audio. 20 minutes of audio. I cut that together.
Episode 57.
57.
57, and it starts at the 14-minute mark.
Yeah, check that out.
What's the title of the episode? Maybe they can just like
The
type
title
it
is
in.
just Christian and Chris lose their cool.
Yeah, and it's more than that, but you could just type that in. It should pop
cut
up.
off. Yeah.
But I mean, that was all genuine. I said this during the show. I was like, this is not an act, by the way. We were angry about that at the time, and that birthed the Dru Crew.
The Dru Crew. I wonder how they feel about Brandon Drury back in New York with the Mets.
They probably hate Brian Cashman's guts right now.
You know, and like I
Remember
mentioned,
the yellow sunglasses?
because he was
Dickhead.
blind.
Remember when he
Yeah.
couldn't see and he
His
finally
migraines.
told them after half a season of batting 100?
Yeah, it was like the middle of May, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I have migraines and I can't see."
Dick.
And I actually, in that rant, if you listen to the full thing, I actually thought he was going to be a solid player for the Yankees. For what I thought he was not. look, LeMahieu turned out to be a MVP candidate each year, but for what the Yankees envisioned LeMahieu to be, I thought that was what Brandon Drury would have been.
If you really remember Drury the year before, we were actually pretty excited about the pickup. It was a good move.
The fans could even, the fans ruined Brandon Drury for me, and I pretty
Oh,
much
for
said,
sure.
pretty
For
much
sure.
said as much. But let's go to Twitter here, unless there's anything else about this trade that you want to kind of pick apart.
No.
You know what, I will say this to the Met fans. Are there Met fans listening to the show? Probably not. But if you have Met fan friends or family and you want to send this along to them, I would greatly appreciate it. Go fuck yourself. Okay. I, as a Yankee fan, I know I have no reason to have animosity towards you, and I don't. I'm excited for New York baseball
Go fuck yourself, but I have no animosity towards you.
that Francisco Lindor is here because he's one of the best players in the game. And now I get to watch him on a regular basis because he's going to be on TV a lot more, playing for the Mets. I've always said this. I like when the Mets are good. I like watching baseball. So I don't want to watch a shitty Met team when the Yankees aren't playing. I want to watch good baseball. So when the Mets are good, that works out well for me. Just as long as they don't beat the Yankees, right? What do I have to complain about? But you cocky son of you cocky Ryan, we came up with a new acronym, right? Jocks.
Jocks. I love
Jocks.
that. That was a good one.
Okay. You cocky jocks. And it's not jocks like you think. It's an acronym, JOCS. You figure it out for yourself what it fucking stands for. You cocky jocks out there now that you got the richest owner in baseball and you got Francisco Lindor and Carlos Carrasco, and you want to fucking stick it up our ass now and say, let's go get DJ LeMahieu too. Go fuck yourself. Okay. That's my point here is go fuck yourself. Stay the fuck away from DJ LeMahieu. Stop trying to needle us because guess what? You got to play us this year. You don't want to fucking poke the bear, dog. You don't want to poke the bear. That's it.
Bunch of
I don't
fucking
need to hear.
jocks.
I don't need to hear about let's go get DJ LeMahieu and fuck the Yankees and their fans. No, fuck you. Okay? Fuck you.
You know what? Honestly, if any Met fan gets in my face this year and even begins to bring this up, you know what the fuck I'm going to say to them?
Get the fuck out!
I didn't yell. I didn't scream. Didn't lose my temper. But fuck you. Okay?
No animosity.
I listen to Boomer and Gio every morning, even though I borderline hate
feel
them.
bad for you.
Okay. And I got to hear Boomer the day after they make the trade. Let's go get DJ LeMahieu. And then he's inviting all these fucking jocks to call in and say, yeah, let's get DJ. Fuck the Yankees. No, fuck you, bro. Fuck you. You will always be the gum under our shoes that we constantly step on. So, yeah, I don't have any animosity towards you because I don't feel anything for the gum that's under the bottom of my shoe other than to get the fuck off me, bro. Because I don't need you on my shoe, you worthless piece of shit. So go fuck yourself.
Very low levels of animosity.
So stop bringing up DJ LeMahieu. Congratulations, you got one of the best players in the game. Stop fucking trying to pick a fight where there's no fight. Okay?
You're talking about Drury, right?
Yes.
Best player. Okay.
So let's go to Twitter. Here, let's read about. What, you got something to say?
Second, he can't hear us. Can you hear? It?
I can hear you.
Yeah, you cut out for a second because my stupid ass started playing with the wire.
Let's read about 5 to. I got a bunch of comments here. Let's read about 5 to 7 of them. Let's react to them. The Twitter question this week was, what is your reaction? Sound off, Yankee fans. What is your reaction to the Mets acquisition of Francisco Lindor and Carlos Carrasco? And for me personally, and you guys can chime in if you want before we actually get to this, I'm more upset over Carrasco than Lindor because I don't really think the Yankees need Francisco Lindor, especially if they're going to go out there and re-sign LeMahieu. What's the need?
No, yeah, but I actually Carrasco would have been a nice piece to the Yankees this year. He really would have.
Again, it goes back to what we were saying is that this guy's probably a third starter. We would have to pay an ace price on him to get.
We're not saying we don't want Lindor or that he's not a great player, but we're just talking about what makes the most sense. Carrasco makes more sense for the Yankees right now. If
That one,
gonna
when I
sign
heard they
DJ
got him on top of Lindor, that one was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Now that's
Yeah.
a real deal there. All right, so we'll start with our boy at Stadium Status, the other Ryan. I don't know if he likes to be called the other.
I know you love your boys, that come in. I love them too, just as much. People must sit here and go, they probably only have like 3 followers on Facebook.
No, but I
People-
normally I like to try to switch it up, but I'm reading his comment because I
He's just
love
that
what he
good.
says.
He's just
Yeah.
that good.
And when I saw this phraseology, I said,
That's
I don't want to play favorites, but I'm going to read this because I love how he says this. He goes, "We now live in a world where the Mets have a front office and owner that the Yankee fans are jealous of. I never thought I'd utter those words. Good for the Mets, but most of their fans are fucking worthless bottom feeders that disappear in August."
and rightfully so.
Fucking love that.
That
Thank
was
you.
good.
Let's see here. What else do we got? At N Costanzo 24 was not mad
George
when
Costanza?
Costanzo, not
Oh.
Costanza. Was not mad when I saw Lindor to the Mets. Actually figured he would end up there. Was the best fit and a great move for them. I'm furious that the Yankees didn't get Carrasco, though. Would have been the perfect guy to slot behind Cole. Yeah, I mean, we just touched on that. I don't know if furious is the right word because again, I don't know if the Indians would have actually pulled a trigger on a deal like that. If they could have got a package they could have lived with for just Lindor, and then maybe had Cashman been like, hey, you know what, I'll offer you this, if they would have actually did it. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It just, it seems like Carrasco, it kind of had the way that they traded him, it had to be tied in with Lindor because it was their way of dumping Carrasco's salary. So I guess that's why he ended up with the fucking Mets.
All right, here we go. Ryan, you were here last week, right?
Think so.
You remember when I did the top
Partially.
5? You remember when I did the top 5 things that Yankee fans need to stop doing in 2021?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, ready for this? Now I'm going to preface this by saying if you are going to leave a comment on a poll that I leave like this, understand that you might get ripped to shreds when I read it on the show. Okay, just understand that. I appreciate the support. We love the fact that you listen to the show. We love the fact that you want to be a part of the show. But if you got the balls to leave the comment, just know that you're opening the door to get fucking smacked in the
We
mouth.
say it all the time. We love you. We appreciate your support. But Dr. Go Fouch yourself.
At Mikey Troy 65, do something. George is rolling over in his grave. Mikey, you dumb fucking jock. The guy is dead. Dead.
So dead.
Dead. He can't even, he's so dead that he can't even roll over in his grave because there's not enough of him left over to
So
roll
fucking
over.
Dead. And he was a big dude.
He was a big dude. Let it fucking go, guys. Do we have to go back and listen to last week's episode? Stop with the Georges was alive shit.
Most Yankee fans right now weren't even Yankee fans when George was really in his prime as the owner of this team.
Yeah.
They just love saying it. They hear everyone else saying it. It's like the trendy thing to do. It's a cool thing to do.
Didn't we say that once, that Yankee fans parrot a lot of shit that they hear but don't actually know what it means?
It probably said it more than once.
A lot of people do that.
Dandy the Yankee. Great trade by the Mets, but bad for baseball. This is an interesting point. MLB should bring in regulation if teams aren't going to support their fan base in a game. Not a good offseason for the Razor Indians. I mean, for what they're paying, Lindor, they can't afford that for 1 year.
Something it just reminded me real quick. It's a real fucking shame, and it should not have been allowed. I just want to stress this one more time. To go into this offseason with the question marks of will there be an NLDH and will there be an extra team again in the playoffs? That makes a huge difference. That makes a huge difference in the market. It makes a huge difference in the approach from each team, the strategy. I'm shocked.
Yeah.
I never even thought about that, really.
Yeah, it's a part of it.
Look
for
at a
sure.
guy like Nelson Cruz. He's holding out.
Look at
He wants to know if there's going to be a DH in the NL.
I mean, yeah, even Dominic's. I thought Dominic Smith might have been a piece in that trade because there won't be a DH for this year in the National League. But yeah, I mean, that's definitely something that needs to be addressed sooner rather than later.
All right, I'm going to read a couple more real quick here. At Keen Yo.
Quinoa?
Yeah. Good for the Mets. Their fans deserve it. The Indians are a joke, and their owner should be forced to sell the team. Maybe not a well-known fact, but James Dolan's brother, I want to say, it's definitely a direct relative of his, is part owner of the Cleveland Indians.
Huh.
But you know what? And I do want to, this makes me think of an interesting point here. The Indians are affecting my fucking business now by doing this shit. You know, think of Munch, bro.
Right.
The fuck is he going to care about a Yankee Indian series when the Indians have won 12 games in fucking June?
And they're not even called the Indians anymore.
Damn.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to call me to get my perspective on shit. The fuck is they're not going to care about baseball?
No.
You're ruining the brand, bro. I'm huge in Akron.
He is. It's a fact.
All right, I love this one. This one's funny.
People from Akron don't even know they're from Akron. That's how fucking irrelevant Akron, Ohio is. Keep going.
Ruiz C says, fuck Lindor and fuck the Mets.
Simple, to the point.
And we'll end it with my boy Frankie's Too Loud. Until the Yankees obtain a legit number 2 starter, I'm going to be disappointed. The Mets got those two for a pack of Bubblicious, a Milky Way, and a Milky Way. It's a great trade. They're getting closer to being a real contender.
You know,
do you agree with the statement that they're a legit World Series team now after this trade?
100%.
A lot of people are saying it.
100%. I really do. And I'll tell you what, I'll go as far as saying even before this deal was made, that just the simple fact of getting new ownership, having a different feel to the organization could have put them over the top to begin with, because they have one of, if not the best rotations in baseball.
Mm-hmm.
So we know how far that can go for a team. But, you know, to me, Frankie's comment there is like, okay, I'm angry on so many different levels that I'm more disgusted at the fact that DJ's not a Yankee. But what really makes me angry about it is that it reminds me that we don't even have a number 2 starter right now.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know what Sevy's going to do. And it's bad enough that we don't even know if DJ's going to be Yankee, let alone knowing who's going to follow Garrett Cole that's going to be effective. And without that, without DJ, it's one thing, bad enough. But then on top of that, not having a known solid number 2 starter, those are two things that cannot and should not happen. I'm sorry. 100% agree.
What's our time queue right now?
We're running 120.
All right, so we'll wrap up the show with this, because I think if we don't bring it up, we're doing a disservice. I don't know if you guys have heard about
Garrett
it.
Cole Pine Tar shit.
Yeah. I'll read this directly from the Bleacher Report. It says former Los Angeles Angels visiting clubhouse manager Brian Bubba Harkins named Garrett Cole, Dylan Bundy, Matt Andriese, Yusmeiro Petit, and other pitchers as those he supplied with an illegal ball doctoring substance in an Orange County Superior Court filing Thursday. According to the LA Times, Mike D. Giovanna, Harkins, who is engaged with a court battle with the Angels and MLB, revealed the names in an opposition to monitor in an opposition to a motion to dismiss a file on behalf of the league. A text message from Cole were among the documents submitted. And here's the text message. Hey, Bubba, it's Garrett Cole. I was wondering if you could help me out with this sticky situation. Cole texted in 2019.
Sounds like a sexual assault. Hey, Bubba, I have a sticky situation.
We don't see you until May, but we have some cold weather road games in April. I'm sorry, but we have some road games in April that are in cold weather places. The stuff I had last year seizes up when it gets cold. There's more information. That Harkins was fired in March and is claiming he was made a public scapegoat after MLB memo warned the league it would begin enforcing a long ignored policy banning substance, blah, blah, blah. So this guy's out for blood after being fired. He named Cole. Apparently, I think Scherzer and it didn't mention it in Bleacher Report, but I heard that Scherzer and Verlander's name also came up in the document. What do we make of this?
All right, I'll make two quick things, unless you want to go. Right?
Just one quick thing here that caught my eye. What? That's not a real text message, dude. If you wouldn't go, hey Bubba, it's me, Garrett Cole. Let me self-incriminate myself before I ask you to give me something that's illegal in a time where baseball it's so magnified with banned substances at that time. Even just
January 2019. It was a year ago.
It was only a year ago.
And he was it was on his burner. I heard.
Yeah,
his burner.
Come on, dude. You really. So if it was 2019, that means it was only a year ago. Garrett Cole, I don't think would be stupid enough to say, "Hey, Bubba, it's me, Garrett Cole."
It's me, Garrett Cole.
What do you
My address is.
Yeah, I mean, the guy had to have some sort of inclination that he was going to get paid heavily in that upcoming.
Well, no, he was signed already.
Oh, he was a.
No, right? No, I'm sorry. This was the year leading into. This was the final year of his deal with the Astros.
And again,
this was January 2019. Yeah.
Make one more point before you go is, and this might be a bit insensitive, and I apologize if it is, but I'm sorry, I'm not listening to someone that was fired by the Los Angeles Angels, a team that has over the last 5 years has been the most controversial team in terms of the reports we've heard with banned substances and their players using these substances. I'm not trusting what I hear from a guy at that position for the LA Angels when you saw what happened with Tyler Skaggs and that entire
guy's clearly
ordeal.
Disgruntled.
So I mean, yeah, he's disgruntled because he was fired, and it's like there's already a weird, not weird, but like it's
there's a stigma.
There's a caution to listen to these guys because there was an unfortunate that was very, very terrible what happened, and it seemed like a large part of why it happened was because the people that were employed for the Angels in those positions to get those
weren't they going? I don't remember the entire story, but weren't they going and get the drugs for Skaggs? Like people.
That's right.
There was a staffer there.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, at that point, I'm not. I can't. If it's any other team, maybe I have a little bit. And obviously I have a Yankee bias involved here too. But the Angels, I'm not listening to a staffer for the Angels.
I have three different feelings on it. The first one is off of your argument. If the text messages are legitimate, they can verify them. I mean, and if they are, they are. To me, it does not incriminate Garrett Cole. It doesn't. Can we put the pieces together? Sure. And do I condone any pitcher doing it? No. Do I know every pitcher does? Absolutely. That doesn't make it right, but every pitcher does use. I mean, we used to watch. We were talking about this before. We used to watch Clay Buchholz. He'd have the gel pouring out of his hair. The guy didn't even throw a pitch yet, and somehow his hair was that wet.
Chris, how many pitchers do we see constantly touch the bill of their cap?
Dude,
they
I used
know
to do it in
every,
college.
Everybody knows it's going. Everybody knows what's going on.
Yeah,
and if you
and it doesn't make it right.
And a lot of the batters don't even care because they'd rather the pitchers have control of the ball, knowing that they're not going to get a fucking 98-mile-an-hour pitch to the fucking dome.
And to me, there's just not enough evidence there to incriminate Garrett Cole on it because he doesn't say, I need some of that. I need some of the stuff to help me pitch better. The formula you put together and blah, blah, blah. He was still not enough to the point where, a judge would be like, yes, this is definitely whatever. And then MLB finds him or whatever they want to do. Regardless of all that.
If it's true, you hate Garrett Cole now?
Absolutely not. Do you
want the Yankees to get rid of him if it's true?
Absolutely not. Here's my last point and my biggest point. You as a man, whatever this guy's name is, Bubba, to fucking be
a snitch,
scummy enough to be providing these players with whatever that they're texting you that they need it, and then you go and snitch and fucking drop their names after you've been caught, you are nothing but a fucking coward. Piece of shit. So fuck you, you fucking jock.
All right. So,
He's-
this is not original because I've heard other people say it, but I'm in complete agreement with it. If there was such a stigma behind whatever this is going on, whatever he was using, because we just referenced it, a lot of pitchers are doing shit. It's just the egregious things, like when Michael Pineda literally had it dripping off of
That's
his
what we
neck.
said. We were talking about this before. I'm like, every pitcher does it. It's when pitchers are blatant about it, like fucking Pineda's neck was just literally like batters were going up to Pineda's neck and using him for the pine tar instead of the actual
Right.
fucking pine tar.
And a lot of batters it doesn't even bother them because it just helps them control the ball. It's not giving them more velocity, more cut, or whatever. But if there was such a stigma about it being illegal, why is Garrett Cole using his real name? Why is Garrett Cole not having some fucking jabroni that works for him call this fucking guy?
Why aren't pitchers required to show the bottom of their cap in between every innings if it's that big of a deal?
Have a code name or something. At least go initials.
And like you guys were saying, if this was really Garrett Cole, why would he say this is Garrett? Because like if I knew you in passing and I got your number from somebody, I would introduce myself in a text message so you knew who it was. So that part, I believe that it could actually be Garrett Cole. But if this is so frowned upon, this is A-Rod, like Craig Carton said this, and I completely agree with this. When A-Rod was doing steroids, he didn't walk up to his fucking steroid dealer and be like, yo, let me get a fucking cycle. He sent his cousin to do it.
Yeah. And look, here's another point. We all know this. Whenever there's these like things within baseball that are really kind of, everyone knows people do it, but you're not supposed to, whatever. When there's a guy like this guy, Bubba was the guy for this shit, right? How many different players truly knew to go to him, or at least that other players were going to him? Probably a lot of the teams in the league knew about this guy, right? Or knew what he was doing, right? I'd say a good amount of teams knew. How many times does Garrett Cole touch the brim of his hat in a game? How many times?
Literally before every pitch.
How good is Garrett Cole? Would you say that he ruins teams' hopes of fucking winning ball games?
I would say at worst, he's the third best pitcher in the entire sport.
Why hasn't one team came out and told the umpire to check the brim of his cap because he keeps touching it in between every pitch?
Because that manager has 10 guys on his staff that do the same exact thing.
Correct.
Hey, Bubba, it's me, Garrett Cole. I pitch for your division rival here.
It's me, Garrett Cole. I have a sticky situation over here, if you know what I mean.
Do you know anyone that could put a potential hit out for me?
Please.
It's me, Garrett Cole, by the way.
This is me, Garrett Cole. I was wondering where I could buy large quantities of heroin.
I don't know if my last text went through. Just to
This is
confirm,
Garrett
this
Cole.
is Garrett Cole.
Yeah, and this is Bubba, correct? This is Bubba.
This is Garrett Cole. I live at 123 Main Street in Houston, Texas. I pitch for the Houston Astros.
As a
It's
child,
Garrett
I held
Cole.
up a sign that I was the biggest Yankee fan ever
Do
and
you
always
need-
will be.
Do you need my social security number to confirm that
Please.
this is Garrett Cole?
Please.
My wife's maiden name is Smith.
I will verify with a selfie.
My first pet's name was Roger.
Oh, God.
But a lot of people are now going to bring this up and it's be like, oh, see, Garrett Cole's a cheater, Houston. I mean, as Yankee fans, do we really care though?
I don't. It's not even worth me caring anything about.
So, I mean, to me, it's a non-story. What's going to happen if we find out this was really Garrett Cole and he used some sticky substance pitching for the Astros? What's going to happen? Are we going to demand the Yankees trade this guy?
No.
Just go no hats
Because-
from now on. For this year forward, no more hats in Major League Baseball.
For pitchers.
Yeah, for pitchers, have to wear headbands.
Yeah. That's cool.
To me, this is such a non-story. It's just, I don't know. It's a non-story to me.
Yeah, I feel like there needs to be more to come out of it if I'm gonna.
And
worry
I
at
don't
all
like
about
Justin
it.
Verlander. And I'm not going to make a big deal about him being linked to this shit either because I don't
No.
care.
No, you know what I do care about? When teams like set up fucking cameras in center field
Yeah.
and bang trash cans and win World Series because of it.
I mean, and if this guy was working for the Angels, if you had to pick one team, what's the worst pitching staff in baseball the last 10 years? You would say it's the fucking Angels. This guy has this incredible magic fucking product, and his teams still suck. So, I mean,
Yeah,
Doesn't
Which
add
giving
up.
it to
let's just
Shohei
be-
Ohtani
and let's just be
Yeah.
clear about something, right? Why do guys take steroids?
to
Why
get big
No, why do baseball players take steroids?
to hit the ball.
Really, really older guys kind of leaving their prime. Why do they take steroids?
Because
So
they want to
can
hit the
keep
ball
going,
farther.
right?
Right. And so they can stay competitive and they can make more
Mhm.
money.
They could reverse the aging process.
And would you say that any competent pitcher, any competent hitter who took steroids, really, I mean, you still had to be pretty talented to be great, but it did give you a clear advantage. Why isn't there more Garrett Coles out there if fucking pine tar under your hat is that effective?
Yeah.
Then it's just not the same thing. You are not enhancing your performance. You are in a sense, but what I'm saying is every pitcher would do it. If no one's getting caught doing it and it's that big of an advantage, everybody would be a much better pitcher. Everyone would be.
Okay, Garrett Cole's a cheetah. Okay.
Yeah, he's really not that good. Rest in peace.
Well,
to your
according,
career.
I mean, I had to debate a few people today on Twitter that told me that was a terrible contract the Yankees handed out to him.
I would love to debate those people.
Well, they're there. Go.
No, I'll wait for them to win a World Series first.
So if they don't win a World Series, it's a bad contract.
To me, if they don't win a World Series under those 10 years, it's just it's a nothing contract. It's not good or bad. It's literally nothing.
Irregardless, is this not something they had to do?
Absolutely.
So it's not a bad contract.
Doesn't make it good.
We've had this.
Why
We've had
did
this
they
debate
okay,
before,
okay,
fellas.
okay, but why did they have to do it? For what?
They want. Well, yeah, obviously.
Okay, why did
want
they
to win a
have
World
to do it?
Series.
You just said didn't they have to do it? So why'd they
Yeah.
have to do it?
Well, I
To win
understand
a
the
World
point you're
Series.
getting
If they don't win a
to.
World Series, then why is it good?
Why
It's
is it
not
bad?
bad.
then?
It's not. I said it's not bad either. It's just nothing. It's neither good nor bad. It's just nothing.
So
I'm not gonna sit there and go, but that deal they fucking did with Garrett Cole. I know they took another 10 years and didn't win a World Series, but that deal was good. No, it's just nothing. They
I will
just
never
sucked.
look. I will never look back on that deal and say it's something they shouldn't have done.
No. Same goes with Stanton. They got him for a steal at the time.
But here's my point. Here's the last thing we'll say here today. Here's my point with fans that are so worried about these contracts, right? What do you care? Why do you care what happens at the back end of the deal? The point is to win at the front end of the deal, and then you worry about that shit later. You want to play in that part
Unless
of
it's
the
DJ
playground.
LeMahieu.
If you want to play in that part of the playground, you got to do certain things.
Unless it's DJ LeMahieu.
Well,
you know?
and there's
You know
the
what,
best
Chris?
player
Player on your team for the last 2 years.
that's you and I talking. But there's certain fans that also don't think the Yankees should go past 3 years for this guy.
For DJ LeMahieu.
Yes.
Go fuck yourself.
Didn't I send you a tweet if we could get from somebody that said if we could get him at the right price? I mean, come on now. What are we talking about here?
Fucking bunch of jocks.
Bunch of jocks.
All right.
You are not going to sign elite players and telling them, Garrett Cole in the prime of his career, hitting free agency. Hey, Garrett, let's give you a 4-year deal. You're going to sign? Is he going to sign that deal?
No.
So when are you ever getting an ace on this team?
Right. Never.
Didn't the Yankees do the same thing with CC Sabathia?
Correct.
That's my whole point. Who
They have
cares
to win a
about
World Series?
Yeah, but who cares about 8 years, 8, 9, and 10 in a deal? The contract was not signed for years 8, 9, and 10. You did it to ensure the fact that he's here while he's pitching in his prime.
And DJs wouldn't matter past 3.
It shouldn't matter past
DJs
3.
wouldn't matter in 4 or 5. I've been making this
It
argument
shouldn't
from day
matter
one.
past 3 years.
I've
If
been
the
making
Yankees
that
haven't won a
argument.
World Series in the next 3 years, we have a major. The Yankees don't win a World Series this year. We have a major problem on
And
our
that's
hands.
been my number one. I've stayed consistent with it from the beginning of why I felt the 5-year, $100 million contract was beyond fair for the Yankees, and they should have jumped all over it because it was only $20 million a year, which was only $1 million more than the qualifying offer. It was a fucking steal, and no one cares about the 4th and 5th year because if you're not winning a World Series within the first 3, you are fucking. Your problems are way worse than having to pay DJ LeMahieu for 4 and 5.
Well, pat Ryan on the back. He made a great point before with the way that they might have to pay Torres and Judge of why they
And
don't
you know
want
what?
to go.
I don't agree with it.
Fine, that you don't have to
Right,
agree
it's
with
not
it.
a
I
matter of
don't because I
agreeing.
don't care about the 4th year anymore. I don't care about when I'm signing Gleyber Torres. If I don't win a World Series by the time I have to pay Gleyber Torres, I have much bigger fish to fry at that point.
Right. And this is an
Right.
argument that we have been having for weeks now
We
about
need to
how
do 2
two
episodes
things
back to back to get all the content in.
that two things can be correct at the same time,
Yes.
right?
Well, yeah, to rational people in this world, yes, correct.
The Yankees need to win a World Series in the next 3 years to make right. They need to win a World Series in the next 3 years, and then the 4th and 5th years are irrelevant. But also to keep their payroll in check, they don't want to pay several guys over $20 million a year. So that's why they want to limit the deal to 4 years. Two things can be correct at the same time.
Agreed.
Okay.
Uh,
Ryan, do you have anything to add?
No, the only thing I'll have to, I only have one little thing to say, and that's I'm very worried that DJ LeMahieu.
That's what she said.
Yeah, she did. I'm worried about LeMahieu and the Dodgers because the story of the last week, first it was the Padres, right, getting Snell, adding some pieces. Then it was the Mets, and now it's kind of we're at a point where it's like the Dodgers might be thinking, well, what about us? We just won the World Series. Now it's time for you to remember who we are. Let's go out and let's get DJ LeMahieu.
Why haven't they yet?
Because I think that this week is going to be very telling for the DJ LeMahieu market. And I think by the time we film our next podcast, he'll be signed somewhere. And I'm just worried.
And
I'm
go back to
worried
what I said about an hour ago. I think they're waiting for Justin Turner.
Yeah. See, that's where my optimism lies completely on Justin Turner and where he ends up. Because if he's not a Dodger, then
this fucking guy wants a 4-year deal at 36. Yeah. That's outrageous. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And he won't get it.
That's the only thing I wanted to add. I'm good.
Okay.
I'm tired.
Are you done? Chris is exasperated.
Exasperated.
Yeah. Okay. So we want to thank everybody for listening to episode 209 of the NYYST podcast. Please follow us on Twitter at NYY Sports Talk. I don't know what I'm really confused as to what is going on Twitter right now, why we're losing so many followers. So please spread the word. Follow us.
Confused, but follow us on Twitter.
You know, you tell me I'm literal Lucy. You're fucking literal Lucy.
No.
You cannot
Only
pick.
You
Cannot pick up
only
on
you and my wife.
sarcasm. You cannot pick up on sarcasm if your life depended on it. But yeah, so please follow us on Twitter at NYY Sports Talk. And Ryan, just to before we wrap up the show, that episode that we took the cut from today, that's our anniversary. Chris and I have an anniversary when the Yankees signed Mark Teixeira. That episode is our anniversary because if you listen to the opener of the show, that's when you graduated from being my friend's brother to my friend.
You were my friend long before that, but I'll take it.
Okay.
Ryan's gonna text you later and say, "Hey, Bubba, I have a sticky situation." And
yeah, actually, what Ryan and I are gonna do later is we're gonna text about Cobra Kai. So I gotta sign off here and go watch season 2.
Oh yeah.
Best show ever invented. Fuck Breaking Bad.
Maybe we'll do a pod down the line.
All right, come on. We're going to go down this fucking rabbit hole.
No, we're done.
Oh, the last thing I'll say,
there we
right?
go. I knew it.
Here we go. To anybody on the fence about this show, there's times, and I've even had people say this about Breaking Bad, where they're like, the pilot's not that good. It takes a couple episodes to get into it. You are hooked from the pilot on this show.
Agreed.
Okay.
Wax on, wax off, motherfucker.
No mercy. Fear does not exist on this podcast. Thank you for listening to episode 209. Stat Guy Rye.
Go Yanks.
Chris, say goodbye.
Peace.